Welcome to St. Augustine this evening, the Mike Davis Show. We've got a great show for you. Great guests here tonight. Lots of intelligent conversation, which means I probably won't be talking very much, but you guys are used to that. So before I introduce our guest and our star producer, and I do mean star producer tonight, we're going to make some money for the show so we can pay some bills. All right, Powell Heating and Air Conditioning. They've been serving St. Augustine and St. Johns County for 40 years. They've got a fleet of 10 trucks and a 15,000 square foot warehouse packed with parts and equipment, and they're ready to service you around the clock. And they do mean around the clock. They're open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, including nights, weekends, and holidays. They service all major air conditioning brands. Give them a call, 904-794-2665, Powell Heating and Air Conditioning. And Salomon Services, it's the premier place for personal training. They have classes for both the youths and adults. They also have small group strength, fitness, and development classes. If you have been injured, they can help you get in better shape, get you back on the field or the court stronger. And they do all of this in their state-of-the-art center with both indoor and outdoor turf areas. Every single one of their coaches is certified through the National Strength and Conditioning Association. Give them a call today, 904-461-9945, or visit their website, salomonservices.com. Sign up. I keep telling you guys, this year, you might as well, if you missed your New Year's resolution for 2024, you might as well start getting in shape for 2025. It's coming. It's not going to slow down. Time never does. All right, and Brightway Insurance, the Casey agency, they opened their doors in 2008. They proudly stood by their customers through hurricanes, major floods, hail, and fires. Through these events, the agency has become a much-needed insurance resource in times of trouble and hardship. Honesty and integrity are the pillars of their core values, says owner Ashley Casey, and they pride themselves on being insurance experts while developing strategies that help their clients meet their needs. Give them a call, Brightway Insurance, the Casey agency. They're a great company. They insure this radio podcast, which tells you how much risk they're willing to take. And Blake, it's just me and you on this one. Land Title of America, whether you realize it or not, when you refinance the sale or purchase of a home, there's a title company involved. Don't get stuck with some out-of-town title company who doesn't give a crap when you're faced with challenges. Stay local. Choose Land Title of America. Just call or text Stephen Collins, 904-501-4481. He specializes in all types of real estate transactions. Land Title, your local title company, insuring America's land one title at a time because
they give a crap.
Yes, they do. All right, best read we have. We save it for the end of the week. This is Thursday. It's our last show of the week, and we are kicking off the weekend here on the 904 now. So Blake is with us. Blake, welcome back.
Hello.
And you don't have to do no bollocks tonight either.
No, there is going to be a bollocks tonight.
Are you hosting and producing bollocks tonight?
Yes, I will. Yes, I will be there. There's going to be a special co-host with me tonight, though. So
and I've learned this from Pete Melfi. Normally, I would ask Blake who the co-host is. I'm going to tell you all if you want to find out. You have to turn into bollocks tonight.
Definitely will.
That's how you leave them hanging, and then they'll show up.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a very special guest, return guest, has been with us numerous times. Conversations always exciting. Casey Van Rysdam, welcome back.
Great to be here. And Blake, thank you for joining me because I feel like I just have a little bit of an ally sitting on my side of the table. I appreciate it.
It definitely does feel nice. Like a little outnumbering the Republican.
Well, I am a Republican.
Oh wait, what?
I am a Republican.
Shh, Blake is about to faint.
I just fly in the middle of the bird. I don't go way out on a wing.
Okay. Oh.
All right.
Good enough for me. My dad's the same way, so good enough with me.
Look, I enjoy having conversations with people who think differently from me, and I have to give both of you credit. You guys are really fun to talk to and disagree with. There are people who I know are not going to be fun to talk to and disagree with, and I enjoy listening to your arguments, your points. You may not always sway me, but I really do enjoy listening to them.
I've always said that you can disagree without being disagreeable, and I still respect you. I sometimes wonder why, but I continue to do it. And I would say, Mike Davis, I've known you a long time. I would say that we probably agree on more than we disagree on.
I think we are, and I think as we go through some of the topics today.
Certainly locally.
Oh, yes. 100%.
Certainly, whether it's philanthropy, whether it's growth, whether it's recreation, education.
Running a good pick and roll in a basketball game. Giving the ball up.
And I apologize for that elbow. I did not mean to do
That's
that.
okay. You weren't the only one that hit me with an elbow. Dr. Grimes still has the hardest elbows.
Well, he was just creating business.
He really was.
God bless you, James.
James, we love you. But when he first started playing at the Lyceum, which has this much room between the out-of-bounds line and a solid brick wall that's about 1.5 feet thick, we would just tell him, if you break us, you got to fix us for free.
Yeah, good
You're
time.
welcome to play, but if you break us, you got to fix us for
Group
free.
of guys playing together for a long time. Had a good time.
So let me get to a public service announcement, and then I have one for you as well. Toys for Tots collection is at the Anastasia Diner and the Moultrie Creek Diner until December 16th. So you've got this weekend and next weekend to donate. If you're going to have breakfast there, I know I'm going to be there at some point in time this weekend having breakfast. I love being at the Anastasia Diner with Andy and the crew. Just bring something. Toys for Tots collection again.
Sound off, please.
It's okay. Rookies are welcome in the studio whenever we have all kinds of guests. It's okay. When's the last time you were called a rookie, by the way?
I just hate getting this spam crap on my phone. That's all.
And I'll tell you how desperate I was to get somebody in today. I actually reached out to Tim O'Neill, and he said I couldn't make it about 5 minutes ago. So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing for me.
You dropped my name?
I did. I told him you were coming in
There
here, and
you
he
go.
said, I really want to come in. Levi Moore really wanted to be here. He couldn't be here. He had work today, too. You also have a shameless plug. You're going to be somewhere tomorrow.
I am, but I've got 2 shameless plugs if
Go.
you'll let
Yes.
me. First, tomorrow at 7 o'clock, WFOY 102.1 for the Yellow Jacket semifinal state playoff game against a school called American Heritage. They're like the Bulls of Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got a 5-star quarterback going to Texas. They got a 4-star receiver going to Miami. They got a 4-star running back who is going to Florida, just flipped from FSU. And it's going to be an incredible test. But we will be on at 7 o'clock, pregame at 6:30, James Guzman and I. And, go Jackets. We can beat them. We played well against teams with 3, 4, 5-star kids. We can absolutely play with these guys. This is a very special group of kids, and they're heading down there as we speak. Mm-hmm. And so listen in, Yellow Jackets. It's 7 o'clock on WFOY.
Kathy Hereda is glad that you're on the show.
Oh, I love Kathy Hereda.
Yes.
I love Kathy Hereda. And one more shameless plug, please. I'm involved with a group of folks who are putting together a concert series at St. Anastasia Catholic Church. Mm-hmm. There's a musical trio appearing Saturday.
Kingston Trio?
The Kingston, the Limelighters. 6 o'clock, cello, piano, and flute. Mm-hmm. Just a beautiful group. At 6 o'clock, Goodwill offering, but it's a free concert. And here's the special thing about concerts in St. Augustine that makes this one extra special. Free parking.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And it's a big parking lot.
It's a big parking lot. St. Anastasia Catholic Church, 6 o'clock Saturday
It's
night.
a big, beautiful parking lot.
It is indeed.
Some say it's the biggest, most beautiful parking lot in all of Crescent Beach.
And here we go.
Yes, here we go. All right, one other I just got to ask, you've been following Sammy Edwards this year at Valdosta State.
Yeah, Sammy's he's the offensive player of the year in that conference. And I just have a memory of Sammy Edwards watching him as a freshman on the practice field, thinking the wind was going to blow that kid over. Mm-hmm. And he has worked the weight room, and boy, has he developed into a first-class college quarterback.
Yeah.
And we still call it the Sammy Edwards hard count, where at Baker County, a sophomore year, we're up, but we can't give the ball back. We've got like a third and about 3 or 4. If we get a first down, we can win the football game. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we're going to have to give the ball back. And he hard counts Baker County into an offside penalty and kept the drive alive, win the game. So every hard count now, that's a Sammy Edwards.
Sammy Edwards hard. Yeah, that's good. He made an impression.
Indeed, he did.
Well, I'm happy for him. I've known his dad and his family. We used to all end up at the Bo Clark father-son basketball camp.
Yeah.
And I always remember good times with the Edwards. Some nice
great family. Sammy's having a great ride at Valdosta State,
yep.
and congrats to him.
Yeah, I was talking to a client who lives in that area, and we're having lunch yesterday. He's like, you got a kid from St. Augustine who is a quarterback. I said, Sammy Edwards. I knew exactly who he was talking about. Yeah. Yep.
And by the way, there was a game 2 years ago, I guess, maybe 3 now that I'm thinking about it, that it was Sammy Edwards and Austin Reed in the same game.
Mm-hmm.
West Florida versus Valdosta State.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
So one question, though. Can St. Augustine High score enough points on American Heritage?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And the defense is the type of defense that bends a little bit, but gosh, they play so well together. And Brian Braddock is just he's got a great defensive scheme. The kids have bought in. I was sitting there in the meeting room before practice one night, and he was going over all these schemes on defense, and the kids left, and I walked up to him. I said, Brian, do they understand what the heck you're talking about? Because you lost me in the first sentence. And he said, the kids that have been here a while, that have been in the system, know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's a system. It's a process.
When were they at state? Was that last year or the year before that they were at the state finals?
Last year, and in Tallahassee at Florida A&M University, and lost on a last-second field goal. Mm-hmm. Had a 1-point lead and lost on a 2-second.
I think Troy and I were doing. It was a Thursday night. Troy and I were doing.
It was a Thursday.
Yeah. We were watching the game live on the TV, given the recount. We couldn't get the audio feed here, so we had to be like the second teamers. I know you were the first team guys.
We were indeed.
Yes, but we were the second teamers. We were following it online, and we both said the same thing when they made that last drive. It was Mainland, right?
Daytona Mainland. Yep,
yeah, and I said we're in trouble. We haven't stopped them the whole second half. We're in trouble.
They were a very good football team.
Yeah,
but we played with them.
But they had a couple of catches, toe tappers in the end zone. In either the first or the second half, you're like, normally that play would not be made at a high school level, and they made some great plays.
And they made a 4th and 13 catch up in the middle of the field to keep their drive alive.
Mm-hmm.
Had chances, but there you go.
Yes. All right. I want to do a traveler's viral booking hack and get both of your opinions. You've traveled all over the world.
I have no clue what the hell that means.
So this is a guy in Australia that has decided he doesn't like the middle seat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, have you read this, Blake?
I have not read it though, but think we can all agree the middle seat is.
Well, I was about to say, who the hell likes the middle seat?
So this guy doesn't like the middle seat. So he will go online and he will look at what the seats are available, and he'll see how many seats are middle seats that are left on the flight he wants to be on. He opens up another web browser page under another email, logs on, and then asks to reserve. Let's say there's 9 middle seats, all 9 middle seats. If he wants to get out of the middle seat in the other login, he's got to pay $9 or $20 or $30 or whatever to get out of the middle seat. But by reserving them, he has now blocked them. So when he goes back on under his regular name, they all look like they're taken. Now he gets the window seat or the aisle seat for free, books it, goes back in, deletes out the reservations on the other ones. And the airlines are trying to figure out, how do we stop this?
Well,
I think it's just classic. I'm using the computer to get around you.
No, listen, it's the game that travelers play. And there's lots of games. I have over 4 million miles with Delta in my lifetime. I'm a lifetime titanium member of Marriott.
So you get every middle seat that you want.
Where I sit, baby, they don't have middle seats.
You literally been around the world.
I've been in a lot of countries.
Yeah. Literally around the world. Yeah. We're going with around the world.
Okay.
It sounds impressive.
Okay.
We're going with that. So anyway, so I brought you on. We're going to do some trivia.
Okay.
I got a lot of loaded up trivia questions, which you're going to have fun doing. The question is, State of the Union. Casey's State of the Union. Where do you think we are now? The election's a month over. Most of the voting has been counted, not all, but most. Some states are still languishing. Alaska's sled dogs have all come in.
California just came in with its last congressional district 2 days ago, maybe.
Which is appalling to me. Which is absolutely appalling. It takes you that long to count.
I don't know the details on why. If there were a certain number of recalls that were kicked in that were required, I don't know the answer to that.
I believe.
I agree with you that it shouldn't take that long.
I believe that they allow ballots that are postmarked up to like 3 weeks after the election to show up.
Yeah, I think that's wrong.
And I think that's 100% wrong. And I really think it's wrong because every single time they take that long, only one party loses. Only one party loses.
Here we go.
And no. And
here we go, Blake.
When one party loses that many times in a row, it's statistically impossible.
I find it amazing that facts are often thrown around without any little footnotes to say where those facts came from. Blake, could you make a note that we're going to have him come back? Anecdotal
Information.
Anecdotal.
Can either of you remember a time where California counted 3 weeks out and the Republican won?
I can't remember a time that the Democrat won. I'm 72 years old, but I'll go with anecdotal on some things.
Yeah.
But I won't go with them on things
I'm
like
going
that.
with it on that. I'll do the research for you and email you.
I appreciate that.
I just, for the life of me, when I look at it, it's like I don't see, most of them broke 50-50. And so when I always see something break one way, I go, it's kind of like watching the Chiefs play football.
Can I ask you a question?
It's like watching the Chiefs play football right now.
Is JFK Jr. still alive?
JFK Jr. still alive.
Just ignore that.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. See, Blake?
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
No.
I say RFK Jr. No,
he's definitely alive.
He's definitely alive. Yeah, JFK. No, I don't get into those conspiracy theories that way. Like when somebody's dead, they're usually dead.
That's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah, I mean it. You know, the conspiracy theory is not whether he's alive or not. It's whether somebody took him out to get a better presidential position running for office. So that is what the conspiracy theory is. I don't believe the conspiracy theory. I'm just simply telling you what the theory is.
Yep.
You kind of pay attention to this, but
so you asked me what the mood of the country is. Was that the word you were? We're a 50-50 country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we are probably, if you put it on a line graph, we are probably a little bit right of center as a country.
Mm-hmm.
Trump won by 1.5%, I think, of the vote. And from electoral college perspective, it was under 1 in Wisconsin. It was about 1 in Michigan and about 1.5 in Pennsylvania, maybe 2 in Pennsylvania. But the point is, it's a very close country.
Mm-hmm.
And but the agendas are being driven by the far left and the far right. And I think most Americans would just like to see people get along and figure things out and make things better. So I think I think the mood of the country is frustration that the far left and the far right are too dogmatic and don't understand that to get something done in this country and in our system of government, they need to figure out commonality and working together. And I just think that's a shame.
Well, I agree with you, and where I agree with you is that you had this revelation probably a year or so ago, year and a half ago. The things that my 7th grade class debated on, right, in debate class, are issues that are still there today, which means in 40 years, the Democrats have not won a controversial topic, and the Republicans haven't won a controversial topic. We're still arguing over the same thing. So we've had 40 years for both parties to fix it. At some point in time in the 40 years, both parties realized fixing it would be a major mistake for fundraising. We need to keep these arguments alive.
I don't see that as a conspiracy. I see that as good, healthy cynicism. I agree with that.
Yeah.
That they are in the business of getting reelected, not of governing and leading. And by the way, going back to the nothing's happening because the far left and the far right, there are some that George Will is a classic example of that. George Will thinks it's great that nothing gets done because you can't screw things up. Is he
still alive?
He is.
As somebody who used to watch him and think, wow, that guy knows what he's talking about, and now thinks, I'm so glad I don't have to see that guy anymore.
Oh, no, I think he's a guy that if he makes you, you don't have to agree with him, but if he gets you thinking, then he's done his job.
I think
and by the way, he doesn't do that anymore. He's kind of out of the game. Out of the game.
Yeah. I think he lost being in the game a while ago.
Oh, he may have, but the point is, he's a guy that got you thinking. You disagreed with him. You thought about those points. That's healthy.
See, I thought he was one of those guys in D.C. that talked a good game for Republicans, but he didn't really. He would rather have been invited as the token Republican to a Washington establishment party than actually fight for conservatism.
We'll see. I think Republicans and conservatives aren't necessarily the same thing anymore. But
yeah.
I don't think that's. I don't see him that way. I see him as somebody who came out with ideas, and if he made you think. You may disagree, you may agree, but you thought, and that's healthy to me. And by the way, his best work is a book on baseball called
I knew baseball was coming.
Men at Work.
Yes.
Fantastic.
I knew baseball was coming.
George Will wrote a beautiful, beautiful book on baseball called Men at Work.
I just watched something today. I sent it to Troy. It was on Instagram. It was about Field of Dreams. And so in the Field of Dreams movie, one of the directors or people was associated with a guy named Fisker. And I may have the last name wrong, but it was a really odd last name. First time I ever heard it when the story was told. So he goes to recruit people for the movie. They hire a coach who's, I think, out in California, baseball coach, to train the players that are, the older players that are coming back and onto the Field of Dreams, right? And the coach is talking to him, introduces him. He says, Fisker. He said, where are you from? And the kid tells him. So the guy that is the young director, his father died in World War II, died in the Battle of the Bulge. This guy was in his unit.
Oh, no way.
Was in his unit, knew his dad, and began to tell him stories about his dad that he had never met. Because he was born either a month before his dad died or a month after his dad died. And obviously the dad was overseas when he was born. Just an amazing story, because they talk about the Field of Dreams is about bringing a son and a dad together. And here's an off-camera story that brings a son and a dad together.
That's very cool. And by the way, just as an aside, talking about traveling, segueing all the way around, if you, I've been to Bastogne, where the Battle of the Bulge was fought a few times, and once in the winter, which with snow on the ground and freezing temperatures, and you can't help but stand on that ground and feel the same way you do when you stand at Normandy or World Trade Center. I mean, there are some places where Alamo. There's just some places where you feel. You feel the significance of what occurred on that ground, and Bastogne is one of those. Yeah. But a digression.
Great, absolutely great. The general that sent the note to the Germans, nuts. Just an absolute. I mean, great way of saying what we now use two words to say, right?
Yeah. Well, sometimes 4 or 5,
yes.
but one of those words is duplicated.
Yes. No. I have to. It just sounds awesome. And then when you watch the movie Patton, and
Patton's the guy that came through and broke through the line.
But they showed Patton the note. This is what the general sent to the Nazis, and Patton says, "We got to go rescue that son of a." He said, "Anybody that's eloquent, we need to go rescue."
Yeah, it's a special place.
Yeah, really cool. No, there's certain times you're standing somewhere and history has happened in that moment.
Yeah,
and it does give you chills.
You feel it.
Yes,
you feel it.
100%. Any comments on the pardon this week?
Yeah. As a father, I understand it. I wish he hadn't done it. For a few reasons. One is in his statement, he inferred that the Justice Department could not be trusted. Those are my words, not his.
Oh no, you're paraphrasing very well.
He said it in his statement.
Yes.
He for 6 months said he wasn't going to do it. And I just think it's a bad. Thing to you're doing something that is going to lead to more and more and more of that. And I just, what's the word I'm looking for? Help me here.
Precedent.
Yeah. I just think you shouldn't have done it. Having said that, as a father, I get it.
I don't think anybody that is really truly surprised by it should have seen this. I think there's more. I think the brother Joe's getting pardoned, right? He's going to pardon his brother.
I'm not sure if he'll need that, but
well, with Hunter now being where he's at, maybe not. But I think just to be safe, he will. Whether or not he pardons himself is another big debate in circles.
Why would he need to pardon himself?
Well, there's this whole theory out there, Casey.
Here we go.
There's this
Blake, hang on. Put your seatbelt on, Blake.
There that Hunter was just the bag man for the family, and everybody in the family was benefiting from what Vice President Biden's influence was in certain areas and regions of the world. So if it's truly and I have not used this term, if it's a crime family and it was the Bidens.
I'm glad you don't use that term.
I don't use that term. That's the term that is used out there. If the Bidens are that guilty, the only way to protect everybody is to pardon everybody before he leaves office. And now, if he doesn't, great. If he does, I'm not going to be shocked.
Did Hunter Biden leverage his relationship with his father to make money? Absolutely. What, is Hunter Biden on the board of Burisma if it wasn't Joe Biden's son? But that's not a crime.
But the crime is if he took the money and shared it back with his family.
The crime is if Joe Biden did something that would have allowed Hunter to leverage that relationship.
Well, the interview that's interesting that brings that up, right, is the Joe Biden interview where he's talking about he fired the prosecutor. I don't know if you've seen the interview.
I have seen the interview, and I can't reach back into my memory bank because, unlike some, I don't make stuff up. I honestly don't remember, but the sense that I've got is that prosecutor was getting fired on the recommendation of others in the government.
Joe Biden was over in the Ukraine and said, "Are you going to fire this prosecutor?" And they said, "We don't know." They said, "Well, I'm here to give you X amount of dollars in aid." And the president told me, unless you fire this prosecutor, unless that prosecutor's fired, I'm getting on the plane and you're not getting the aid. Joe Biden's own words. Son of a bitch, 30 minutes later, he was fired. Bragging about influencing them to fire the prosecutor. Now,
I'm not going down that rabbit hole of the Biden crime family. Not doing it.
I don't have any of the research on anything. I'm just using a term that has been used.
Yeah.
If you were going to protect everybody in the family, that's how you would protect
I don't see that happening.
The other one I think is funny is yesterday was a whole long list of people in the current administration and last administration that were getting pardoned. I said, if Biden does that, that's just the most damaging thing you could possibly do.
Yeah, I mean, that would be like, pardoning Steve Bannon and Roger Stone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There'll be a few others when Trump gets back.
Well, no, those are the ones he already did.
I know. There's going to be a few more.
So let's not make this a partisan issue.
No. Listen, I think there are presidents that have pardoned people on both sides that you look at that pardon and you go, well, why did you pardon?
What did you think of the Ford pardon? The Ford Nixon?
I actually kind of think that was a way of moving the country forward. Now, I was a little kid when all that happened.
Yeah.
I think in light of what has happened by other presidents since Nixon left office, the stuff that they were mad at him about was just ridiculous. I look at that now.
You talking about Watergate?
Oh, yeah.
You think that was minimal and not important?
If it's okay for, so they were spying on a campaign.
Wasn't the spying that got him.
It was the
out.
cover-up that got him covered. I get all that.
The money and the cover-up.
Oh, the cover-up was ridiculous.
The obstruction of justice.
I completely agree that their cover-up was ridiculous, right? But the initial crime, every campaign has done that since.
It was a stupid, poorly planned, poorly executed attempt to gain information in a race you're going to win by 20 points. And you're right, a lot of people do that, but it's the obstruction of justice that's the crime. It was
spiking the ball on the 1 yard line.
It was
literally what the Nixon campaign did is we're going to spike the ball on the 1 yard.
It was fighting the referees.
Yeah,
if we're going to do a football analogy,
well, they did that after they went to review. Right? We're going to review this, and then they fired the referees.
Yeah, no, I do believe it. When I was a 22-year-old or whatever it was, political science and history major in New York, I was appalled by the pardon. On reflection, I think Ford did the right thing.
Yeah, I actually had a kind of a theory. I told people after the election, I said, I don't think this will happen. And there's no way it happens. But Trump goes and meets with Biden at the White House. Just said, hey, I'm going to pardon your son. I'm going to pardon your son. I'm going to end this. I'm going to pardon him. Now, I don't think Trump ever had any intention of doing that. I don't think he was going to do that. But it would have been nice for Biden to look back there and go, you know what? I'm going to take care of 2 or 3 guys that there's one guy right now, Navarro, who's in jail.
Peter
right?
Navarro?
Navarro.
That's like a 3-month sentence. He should be out.
I think he's still in jail or he's getting close to getting out. But he's like, I'm going to go ahead and pardon all those guys. They should have sat there and said, let's reset this entire board.
I'm not opposed to that.
And let's be done with this.
I'm not opposed to that.
And let's get this over with. I think it's shocking to me that Democrats, though, that some of them in the news may are shocked that Biden pardoned him. I'm like, yeah, he was going to pardon him. He was always going to pardon him. There's no way he wasn't going to pardon him.
I think I wouldn't use the word shocked. I would use the word disappointed, and they disagree with the pardon. I don't think anybody's shocked.
No. So I'll save this for trivia because it's a great question for trivia. I may not have gotten it off the computer today. But we'll talk about the pardon.
I thought we just did.
No, we'll talk about it in a trivia question.
Oh, okay.
I have a trivia question for it. So Blake's over there doing research right now.
Mhm.
So do you agree, disagree with Casey?
I definitely agree with with mostly what Casey just said there. Obviously, I wasn't alive during the Watergate scandal, so I only got like secondhand information about like what I know about like Nixon, Watergate, the pardon by Ford. So I can't really comment on that situation though. But definitely do think that situation's like a lot more different compared to the Hunter Biden.
Oh, no, agreed 100%.
So I got to tell you, I hated Watergate when I was a kid, because when you came home from school and you couldn't play outside, and there's 3 channels, and only one of them had non-soap opera entertainment on for kids, right? Gilligan's Island, Brady Bunch, Batman, all of that kind of stuff was on. Every week they're rotating who was covering the dadgum hearing.
Yeah.
And for a whole week, you're like, it's raining this week. It wasn't raining the last 2 weeks. And I got nothing but soap operas.
But gosh, Sam Irvin and some great characters came out of that.
There were
thing.
some good characters in there.
Yeah, but personally for me, my lasting legacy about Watergate is when like middle school I think we learned about like All the President's Men. Or, I think it was
Woodward
like
Bernstein. Yep.
Yeah, Woodward Bernstein. Yeah, it was a great book as well. But of course, being middle schoolers and high schoolers, we all had to giggle a little bit when we heard Deep Throat.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that means.
There's a lot of discussion about who that was for the longest time.
I think it's Mark Felt, who's was an FBI senior FBI agent who turned out to be Deep Throat. And I think his name came out. He passed in his 90s, and his name was. I think Bernstein and Woodward were released of that confidentiality after he passed.
My mom always thought it was Alexander Haig.
Alexander Haig. I'm in charge now.
Yes, my mom always thought it was him. When that happened, she's like, "See, I told you."
I'm in charge now.
I'm in charge. Wait a minute, you might want to check that list.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
But Bush is still on the plane. Everything's good.
And there's 40 people between you and him that are in charge.
Well, there were 4, I think.
I think it was more than that. I think
no, he was defense secretary. So you had Bush, you had a Speaker of the House,
you had Cheney,
and no, Bush was the vice president. It was because it was when Reagan was shot that we're talking about.
Okay.
And so Reagan was shot. Bush is in a plane, turned the plane around from Houston. He's first in line. Then Speaker of the House, who I think was Carl Albert at the time, and then Secretary of State, and then Al Haig.
Have you watched the Reagan movie with Dennis Quaid?
I have.
What did you think?
I thought it was excellent.
I did too.
I thought it was excellent. You know, I'm on a mission to get to every single presidential grave.
Okay.
And so the logical question would be, how many got left?
Dark but interesting.
Well, I go to museums. I read about them.
Okay.
I mean, who reads about Chester Arthur, right? But
not even his kids.
Not even his kids. But I've got 2 left. Well, although I do check the paper every day to see if it's 3.
Yes.
But I have 2 left, and one of them is Reagan. And I'm planning a trip out in the spring to go to the Reagan Library and spend a whole day there.
What about Grant's tomb?
I've been to Grant's tomb.
What did you think?
It was majestic, Greek, bigger than life. Upper West Side of New York, near very close, just north of Columbia University. Yeah, you know who's buried in Grant's tomb?
No.
Grant.
Yes. Okay. Well, I decided it was somebody else, but no.
No, that was always a joke. Yeah. Who's buried in Grant's tomb? Yeah.
I didn't get the joke or the thing. So yeah. No, I was. I thought that in the Reagan movie, one, I didn't know if Dennis Quaid would do that good of a job playing Reagan. I thought he did an excellent job.
He was very good.
And then 2, I loved how they told the story from the Russian perspective. I thought that made the story a lot more interesting. I thought it brought in a whole different perspective to it. I don't think they covered up any of Reagan's warts in the movie. I think they showed some of those things as well. But it was a very interesting, to me, storytelling trick that they used, is to tell it from the Russian perspective.
Yeah, I think that stories that are told from the perspective of both sides, the story benefits with that. Because the example I always use is the Iranian hostage crisis. What the Iranians did when they took our 50 or so hostages at the end of the Reagan term, at the beginning of the Carter term, or flip-flopped, the end of the Carter term, beginning of the Reagan term, what to me that made so much sense, and it was logical, and it was proper from the Iranian perspective. I'm not saying it was right. I'm saying they were wrong. But through the Iranian eyes, it was through their culture, through their history, it was the right thing to do.
Well, they've been taking hostages in the Middle East ever since.
Yeah.
So we have hostages now, which Trump has said, you better get them out. So
we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. All right. We got a little bit of trivia to do. So, Blake, are you ready?
Yes,
You
I
have
am.
a rookie against you who has never played trivia before. And I expect some of you online playing to do rather well today. So, Casey, the way we do this, I ask a question. And you're going to give me your answer. You will go first, then Blake will go second. The next question, Blake will go first, and you will go second.
Okay.
So you got to turn your phone off. And like I said, anybody else online that wants to play, I'll keep score. We have had somebody online win one time. So we have done that. All right. I'm going to start right out of the pardon gate question, right? So which governor who's a leading candidate for 2028 in the Democratic Party condemned the pardon today? Which governor? One of the leading candidates in 2028 for the Democratic nomination.
I did not see anything on that in the news today. But if I was to guess, it would be Gavin Newsom.
I'm actually going to say Josh Shapiro.
Gavin Newsom is the answer. First question on the show, and he's already winning.
Ka-ching.
Do you want to spot Blake some points, or are you just going to do this straight up?
Hell no.
Okay, all right.
He's a Blevin.
Hey!
I love your mom.
True. That is true.
I love your mom. The best Puerto Rican point guard that ever played at Flagler College.
She really should be in the Flagler Hall of Fame.
I don't disagree with that, sir. Love your mom.
Thank you.
I think she definitely should be in the Hall of Fame. All right, a survey was done from the University of California, right? Teens and Screens is the name of the survey. They interviewed roughly 1,500 people between the age of 10 and 24. What percentage of the people interviewed, Blake, said they want fewer sex scenes in movies and TV?
What percentage?
What percentage of youths, young people, said they wanted fewer sex scenes in movies and TV?
I'm going to say 68%.
I'm going to go north of that. So if I have to be the closest, I'll go 69,
Okay.
which is an appropriate number.
Well, 69 is the best guess number and most often and frequent number that is mentioned in the studio, even if it's in the millions. It's
higher.
69 billion. No,
It's higher, though. It's got to be 80%.
63.5.
Really?
Very good answer, Blake. You forced him to go higher, lower. Very good. I kind of thought that was interesting because as a kid, I want to tell you, we were probably 80% wanted more sex scenes in movies.
80? That's it?
I was at a Catholic school. 20% just didn't want to tell the truth.
Yeah. But I personally think it comes down to the fact that with the internet we can easily access that stuff more often without having to look at it in
you don't see it on TV or yeah.
I listen, and I also think that some of the younger people they don't want to see that. Again, you can see it anywhere you want to see it, but they're more interested in the story.
Yes,
right? And I also think young people are pushing kind of long-term relationships farther and deeper into their lives, and not as young as when we were growing up. All right, a cyclist had to pay an $1,800 ambulance bill after being hit by what type of vehicle, Casey?
I will say a garbage truck.
Blake, you're smiling from ear to ear.
It is a type of truck, but I'm going to say it's a Tesla Cybertruck.
Man, for that big a smile, I thought you'd get it right. A cyclist claims to have been hit with an $1,800 ambulance bill after getting hit by an ambulance.
Oh.
An ambulance hits him, they fix him, and then they send him a bill for having to fix him after they hit him.
You look up irony in the dictionary, it's going to have that story.
Well, somewhere I can hear George Carlin reading the question.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
I just like, that's got to be a George Carlin
My favorite
question.
George Carlin joke was famed dyslexic author John Smith was robbed and murdered in his house last night. Neighbors ignored his pleas of pleh.
I always had the what was it? Off-duty policeman shot by on-duty criminal. Man with a chainsaw hit by a falling tree.
What? This is another George Carlin. What does an agnostic, dyslexic insomniac do?
I don't know.
He stays up all night pondering the existence of dog.
He had some great. He was such a good.
I sat in the front row of the Florida Theater and saw him years ago.
Yep.
And he was God, he was great.
All right. So neither got that. We're still tied at 1-1. Blake. Overall book sales are up 1% this year.
Mm-hmm.
How much is the sale of the Bible up this year?
I'm going to say 69%.
I don't know if you should say that for this question. That might be the one you shouldn't have.
Too much beginning going on.
Yes.
I'm going to go 5%.
You're going to win, but it's 22%.
That's high. Yeah.
So the Bible sales are up 22%.
Is this printed books, or does it include
It's-
Kindles?
Does it specifically say which version of it, though?
Overall, the Catholic. No, it does not.
Oh.
It does not.
What are you?
So-
You're looking for? You're thinking? See, I was just thinking 5% of the King James. If you add the others in, it's probably 22%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Casey gets one. We'll give Kathy one because she was at 53. But yeah,
Kathy Herrera?
yeah, she's playing.
No,
She's almost won a couple times.
she's
been
got
close.
she's got her husband Mike talking in her ear.
I don't know about that. Let's see. Okay, Trump this week, Casey, suggested that this country would be an excellent 51st state.
Oh, Canada.
Blake?
Oh, Canada.
I'm just deciding whether it should be Greenland or Canada first.
Greenland's not a country,
I understand.
so that would have been.
I get that.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a really good answer by him. I mean, Trudeau comes down. He's like, your country would make a great state.
It's also not green. Go ahead.
Oh, Greenland's not. No. But I thought Canada would be a wonderful. I don't know how you'd figure the 5 provinces and what we would do with another language because they don't speak English up there.
Well,
Obviously, you haven't been there,
I've been there.
and they don't speak English, is what you're saying, eh?
They don't speak Southern. They don't speak Southern at all. At all.
I love Canada. I grew up in the largest city in Southern Ontario,
Did you really?
Buffalo.
but
Boom. All right, Blake Blevins.
yes.
The Economist, which is an English magazine, has looked at the departments in the United States and has decided that this one is the one that the United States government is spending too much money on, and they should cut spending with this one department. Which department?
Department of Defense.
I would say commerce.
I'm giving Blake the point because Veterans Affairs
Oh yeah.
is they think
No,
we're
that's good.
spending way too much money helping, aiding, and taking care of our veterans.
Yeah, I probably don't agree with that.
I think The Economist has just shown how out of touch they are with.
I will say that there's a columnist for the Economist. His name is Ed Luce,
Mhm.
who's a pretty good read
And at The Economist.
at the Economist.
Okay.
He's a pretty.
I
good
don't
read.
think Ed wrote this one.
No, I don't think he did.
And I think Ed was smart enough
Yeah, I don't
not
think
to
he did.
not to do that one. So, no, I don't think I would have done that. So, we kind of hit that one already. All right, this is a great question. You're up first, right?
Okay. I don't know. Am I?
Absolutely phenomenal question. Yeah, Blake went first with. Did you go first, or is it your question first?
So I said defense first, and he said commerce. So it is Casey.
It's
Okay.
Casey first.
Alex
yes.
Trebek never screwed
Alex-
this up.
I do this all the time. Usually, I have Troy and several other Lenny to tell me,
Ken
and
James
Amanda.
would mess it up though.
Who's that?
Ken Jennings would. Yes.
I don't even watch that show anymore. It's just a shame. All right. So there was a Senate report that dropped on Joni Ernest's desk. Right. The report is a very interesting report. It said, what percentage of federal workers report in person at the job office full time right now? What percentage of federal workers are in the office full time?
Well, that's so hard because the military are federal workers.
Yep.
And
But they're not. The government's much bigger than the military. So
no, but that's 3 million people. So that's a pretty good chunk.
I would say every battlefield is the office if I was conducting.
Yeah.
I would say that's the job. So
Yeah, but I don't know what the office means is my point. You know,
some of them are still remote working.
Remote working. I'll go with that.
So working from home.
I'll go with
signing on online.
I'll go with that. I think 25% work from home.
No, show up. So you're showing
Okay.
75%.
Let me do the math for you.
Yeah.
That's the 75.
75 show up. Blake?
I'm going to say 74% show up.
74% show up. You're going to win that one. Actually, Kathy should get the full. She was at 61, but even she's not close either. Only 6% of federal workers are currently showing up full-time at the office.
Yeah. You know, this is a post-COVID debate that I think...
I got the point, Mike.
I'm giving you the point.
Okay, you mismarked it on Casey.
I'm giving you the point. I
I
didn't. You're up 4-3.
This is a post-COVID debate that I think is a worthy debate in this country. I personally believe that there should be accommodations made for some work at home if you have a job where you can, but there has to be people in the office. I call it the water cooler, time where people are networking in person and good ideas come out of that, and culture is built from that, and camaraderie it comes from that. And I think it's important for people to be at work. Now, certain accommodations, make it a 4-day, in the office, 1 day at home. I mean, make accommodations as needed.
Well, I will tell you, my dad was a stickler for you. You would show up at 7:30. You'd work till 4:30 or 5. There was a lunch break, but that was it. You didn't leave early. I have a whole different opinion. My guys will show up at 7 in the office. They're usually gone between 3:30 and 4. Right? They usually eat lunch at the office or running between job sites. I know today, because of smartphones, there's oftentimes working till 6 or 7 o'clock at night, making phone calls, returning texts and emails. The workday doesn't end when you leave the office anymore. And so you have to kind of factor that in, is that we're always working all the time.
100% recognition of that. But what I guess my point is, there is value at being together.
Oh, I 100% agree with that. Yeah. I think that's where you mentioned culture and camaraderie. And those are the things, if you're not sitting in the room together, we do several meetings a week where we go over different things with multiple people in the room. And a lot of times it's just there to, hey, Blake, you ran into this situation with this inspector or this governmental entity. Let everyone else at the table who hasn't worked in that municipality know what's going on. So when they get there, they can be aware of it, or the issue you had, so that we can fix that on other jobs. You can't do that when you're all working remote.
It's very challenging to do that properly.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things. So, all right, 6%. Okay. New Jersey Township, the Edison Township Council in New Jersey has banned 2 things from their meetings. So what 2 items, if you are attending the meeting, are you no longer allowed to bring to the meeting, according to the Edison Township Council in New Jersey?
Ooh. I'm gonna say your smartphone and your kid.
Okay. Casey?
I was going to go with velour tracksuit. But
no one would attend the meeting. Tony Soprano.
Forget about it. About a Bing.
Gabagoo.
Yeah, gabagoo. I actually, am I allowed to take Blake's? I like that. The only other, maybe go with a pet, but I like the cell phone and a kid.
Well, those would be reasonable things. Apparently, the Edison Township Council in New Jersey has now banned American flags and copies of the Constitution.
Now,
I'm waiting for Casey to process this.
Wait, hold on. So
you're not allowed to bring an American flag or a copy of the Constitution to the meeting anymore.
So I can't walk in there and basically just hold my American flag and the Constitution in my other hand. They'll bar me from there. But,
correct.
But are they saying that are they still displaying it like anywhere in like?
I am assuming that they are still displaying it, but you are not allowed to bring in a little miniature American flag, stand up there and give your speech.
I need context.
The context is they have decided that too many people are showing up to the meeting with an American flag and waving a copy of the Constitution while they're speaking to the council. Which to me says, hey, maybe you guys should have read the Constitution. And two, even if they disagree with you, just go, I love the fact that you brought the flag. I love the fact that you brought the flag. There's so many other ways to handle that.
That's just so weird. That's just so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes.
And it's also, to me, not in the top 10 of issues in our country. But,
Yes.
You know, Edison, New Jersey, doing something stupid like that.
First of all, it's like, where is Edison, New Jersey?
It's in northern Jersey. It's Rutgers. It's where Rutgers is.
Rutgers.
Rutgers University. Probably 30, 40 minutes south of Manhattan.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I will tell you, Ethan, my third son, the coaches was talking to him, said, hey, I got a coach. They're looking for a point guard like you. And I'm like, well, that's great, Ethan. What college is he talking about? I'm looking it up right now online, Dad. It's one in Hackensack, New Jersey. And I just got up off the couch, walked over, closed the laptop, and said, you will not be going to college in Hackensack, New Jersey. I said, no, we're going to go anywhere else but their basketball. So
You need to let that boy fly.
Oh,
No.
no. I didn't want to join the mafia. I just didn't want to.
Hackensack, by the way, just FYI,
Yeah.
Hackensack's a cool town.
It probably is an amazing
It's a very cool town.
Right. We're not going to New Jersey. See how cold it is up there? All right, who's up first?
Casey.
Casey is. Okay. So, in how many states did Donald Trump move the needle and got more Republican votes than he got in 2020? How many states did he show an improvement in Republican votes?
Well, I'm going to rephrase the question and to make sure that I'm getting it right.
Yeah.
How many states did his percentage of total votes increase from 2020 to 2024?
Correct.
Is that?
Yep, that's the question.
That's the question.
Mm-hmm.
I think more than 50%. I'm going to go with 40.
40 states?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 41 states.
The answer was 50.
Yeah.
He increased
I'm not
his
surprised.
percentage of vote in all 50
Yeah,
states.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. All right. So right now, Blake's got 5.
Yeah, but just FYI.
Yeah.
This is like The Price is Right. That's a bunch of crap. Somebody comes in and says $1,000, and the next guy goes 1,001.
That's the way the game's played.
It's the way the
We've
game.
been doing it for
don't
forever.
hate the player, hate the game.
We've been doing it forever. Don't. All right.
Oh no, I don't hate the player. I hate the moderator.
Most people do. You're in good company. You're in good company. All right. So last question. We do these every once in a while. This came out of nodepositdaily.com, right?
Oh,
so they do a poll, and I'm just simply telling you, it's if there was a nuclear attack on the United States, which 4 states are the safest 4 states to be in after the nuclear attack? They do this based on a whole bunch of criteria, access to water, guns, all kinds of different things. And it's always kind of fun to see because we did this probably about 4 or 5 months ago. None of the only one of the top 4 was in the top 5 in the one we did last time. So apparently there's some severe disagreement about which states you could survive the nuclear holocaust in, even among different groups. So, Blake, you're going to pick one. Casey's going to pick one. You're going to pick Casey's going to pick one. All right?
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So the factors were access to water, like possible
Survivability. Some of the other ones we've had is they did one is how many had nuclear bases in them that were going to get bombed, all these other kind of things. So yes.
All right. I really don't. I think access to water is like when I hear that like I obviously had to go with Florida.
Okay.
Alaska.
So Florida, Alaska, Blake.
I'm gonna say Missouri.
All right.
Hawaii.
Hawaii. Let's go. You guys have not gotten a single top 4 state yet. So we're going to go one more round.
All right. I'm gonna say Montana.
Idaho.
Idaho. All right. Still not there yet. Still not there yet.
I'm gonna say Texas.
Okay.
Rhode Island.
One of you is getting closer. One of you is getting closer.
Oh.
Blake?
Kansas.
Oklahoma.
All right, I'm going to end this tragedy of a question.
Well,
All right.
tragedy of a question is correct.
The number 4 state was Wyoming. Okay.
Oh.
Number 3 was Louisiana. Number 2 was Maine, and number 1 was Vermont.
Yeah.
Now, in retrospect, one of you did get one of the ones. The worst 4 states, or 5 states to be in, were New York, Arizona, California, Nevada, and Hawaii.
Really? Hawaii. Yeah. Interesting.
I would think as soon as you stop the food shipments to Hawaii, you immediately have too many people and not enough food on an island.
Did you ever read a book or see the movie? The book was On the Beach by Neville Shute. He was an Australian writer who wrote some great stuff in the 50s, and it was about nuclear war.
Submarine involved in this?
Yeah,
I have read the book.
It was fantastic. Mm-hmm. And when I read it, I was a teenager, I guess. Frightening.
They were getting a radio signal from somewhere. They went all the way to try to find the radio signal.
Up off the west coast of America.
And it was just
it was a transmitter that was unmanned, and
And I thought there was almost like a recording or something that was playing and
yeah.
was just kept looping back, and that was the random signal that they kept getting. But yeah, there was no one left.
But at the time, this was the Cold War.
Yep.
And I remember, I have 2 things that I remember. I remember Khrushchev banging his shoe on the table at the UN and saying, "We will bury you." Before
he threw it at George W. Bush?
No, that was a different, but yelling, "We will bury you." I remember when the clock, I'm sitting in school in 5th grade or so, and I remember the clock ticking to 1 o'clock when the naval blockade came up on Cuba in October of '62. And it was just for those that went through the Cold War. I remember nuclear war drills where you went out in the hall, went up against your locker, and got on all fours to put your hand over your head like that was going to save your ass from nuclear holocaust.
Yes,
that was a frightening time.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God we've moved past that.
Well, let's hope we can end the stupidity that's going on in Ukraine and get everybody back set up.
Even those who support Ukraine, I fly the Ukrainian flag in my yard. Mm-hmm. Even those who support Ukraine want the stupidity to end.
When we start sending our missiles into Russia, and they have nuclear missiles that they can fire back, not the brightest decision we've made.
I think it's extremely dangerous, but at the same time, I refuse to be on the side of Neville Chamberlain.
I don't think you have to be on the side of Chamberlain. There was a deal that was on the table at the very beginning of all of this with the Biden administration, the Russians, and said, "Hey, we want these provinces and we want this."
Why would they give them up? Let's give California back to Mexico. That's bad. You probably would like that. All
of a sudden, that victory by Trump's a lot bigger. I just think that what we have in essence done. And we had a demographic expert on shortly after this whole thing started, and we kind of got talking about this. The Russians have lost part of a generation that they need to repopulate their country. The Ukrainians have lost more of that same generation they need to repopulate their country.
As a percentage
of the population. Yep. His comment was, this is the last war that both of these countries will fight in. Right? That the way global birth rates are going.
This is the last war they will fight in conventionally.
I'll agree with that if we AI and all the other things, right? The other thing is Ukraine was not just the breadbasket of Europe. If you went and looked at the mineral resources and the resources within the country, they were top 5 or 10 and probably the top 20 export things that the rest of Europe wanted. That's all gone.
There's a number. Well, the grain exports are still going on, although at a reduced level. Mm-hmm. But that is actually one of the contributing factors to inflation. The global inflation that we got hit with 3 years ago was the result of that war. Mm-hmm. Energy prices and grain.
Yes. Yeah. There was all kinds of other products that the Ukraine said. The Ukrainians just the other day passed a law that will allow international corporations, to buy parts of the country, which was not allowed before. So then you begin to wonder, how much of these big investment firms will own parts of the Ukraine over the next 5 years?
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I never heard that, and I don't know anything about that. Yeah. But I will say that I'm supportive of the Ukrainian people to keep their land.
I am too. I just think we probably had better ways to do it. But This is it's escalated to a point. I will say, I think Trump winning, there's a better possibility of ending the war. There was no possibility of ending the war had Biden won, though.
We'll see. Day one.
Yeah. Day one. I'm good. I have a bet with Lenny in here. He gave me 6 months. I said, Trump will end the war. How much time do you need? I thought, well, day one. I'll take 6 months. And he took it. I was like, I stretched that. I would have pushed back and said 3, right? But I got a bet going on. All right, Blake won today. Mm-hmm. Congratulations. Kathy won online. Casey, you did not win. The game was probably rigged. There was vote counting going on afterwards. Wait a minute. Let me put in a couple more points in here.
Let me just say.
Late scores.
Let me just say. I'm getting all choked up here.
Yeah.
Let me just say that I'm so glad we finally fixed all the voting machines and we got Venezuela out of that.
We got Venezuela out of there. Finally, we fixed the election system in America. One more time. Where will you be tomorrow?
7 o'clock, WFOY 102.1 from American Heritage High School. Yellow Jackets taking on American Heritage in the state semifinal.
Are they still broadcasting online? If you go to a state website,
we are.
And you can. Well, I mean, on the state website, you can get the video, right?
Yeah, that's right. No, there's no video.
There's no video of the game.
There's no video.
They used to do video of the games.
Of the finals that they'll do it. So you got to listen to the radio. Sorry.
I think the radio broadcasters at St. Augustine High School coordinated this. I'm going to start a conspiracy theory right now.
No,
so online to listen to the game, 7 p.m.
You can listen online. We have listeners literally from around the world, and families, and it's a real community service. The way I look at it, that there's families, there's people like Brad Davis who rock hard Yellow Jackets.
He doesn't own an internet connection.
Yeah, but he's got a transistor radio.
He does have a transistor radio. Yes, he does. That he got when he graduated from St. Augustine High School.
There you go.
Yes.
No, but there are just such loyal fans. And obviously American Heritage in Fort Lauderdale is a tough place to get to for a football game. Mm-hmm. So WFOY 102.1.
Yep.
7 o'clock kickoff, 6:30 pregame.
And so I don't screw this up. I'm not going to ask Blake who his guest is. We're just simply going to say it's an amazing, outstanding guest, and you need to tune into Bollocks to watch tonight.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Tonight's topic is about the world's greatest runners. Whether it be on the track, where it's like long distance running, whether it's a marathon, we're going to talk about like some of the greatest runners of all time.
I think it's the guy that ran at the Battle of Marathon, ran 24 miles, said we won, and collapsed dead.
I'm gonna second that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna second that.
Okay. We'll see if that comes up.
Okay.
It definitely wasn't Rocky running on the beach in Rocky 3.
Or the steps in Rocky 1.
Apollo Creed had to slow down for him. Apollo Creed's like, how slow do I have to run in this?
Steve Prefontaine, Jim Ryan. There have been some interesting folks running.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of ones. I can also remember the Waddle.
Dave Waddle.
Back in the day.
You had that baseball cap on.
Mm-hmm. Big baseball cap. Casey, thank you. Blake, thank you. Next
pleasure.
week, Amanda will be back. So we'll have Amanda back next week. Blake will be in Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
We may be doing Best Of show on Thursday next week. What? I'm just saying. That's the only day. Some of these people at this network take like an entire month off in December.
My dad and Lenny will be back next week.
I know. That's why we might be doing a Best of the Year. Our Best of our year-end show, not a Best of our year-end show.
You got to phrase it like that next time, Mike.
I'm sorry. It's our year-end show. Let me do that again.
Thank you.
I'm 5 minutes over. I'm losing it. All right. You guys have a great weekend. Good luck to St. Augustine High, and we'll see you next week.
Go Jackets.